Watch Jim Davis on your right with green-black Tron against Jeffrey Pyka on your left. A Blue-Red Gift Storm winner of this match will be in through the elimination rounds later this evening, and you'll get to choose, perhaps if you'd like, to watch them play. As Jim has won the die roll, he'll start with an Urza's Power Plant and a Chromatic Sphere. Jeff on 6 cards, Scry to the top, plays the Steam Vents, pass the turn back over to Davis. Davis will draw a card. Karn Liberated is what he's found.
All right, looks like we're going to see a third turn Karn here.
He will sacrifice their Chromatic Sphere, draw a card, found another sphere. Little mana floating, obviously, most likely green. And I think we might have another sphere on the way. Green no longer floating. There's a Tower of Power. Sacrifice the sphere. Green floating. Draw a card. Found another power plant. It looks like he does have a mine, as you mentioned, though. And that means we could have a turn 3 Karn Liberated on the way here. There's a star. Pass that turn back over to Jeffrey Pyka. Pyka will draw. Picked up a copy of Goblin Electromancer. So he will sacrifice this Scalding Tarn very quickly. Get himself a basic island. And I think we'll have a 2/2 cost reducer here in just a moment.
Yeah, I think both these players are aware that it's kind of a race to the board. Get some relevant things out there.
Electromancer is in. Davis will draw. Picked up a tower. Jim always one to think his plays through. Never moves too quickly, which is why we've seen him have so much success over the past handful of years. What may feel like an obvious play here of Karn on turn 3 may not be the play that Jim wants to make.
Well, and it looks like he does not have. If he's tapping this now, I can't imagine he has Tron.
Okay.
So
he's got a Llanowar Waste.
Oh, that was an old snow-covered forest tucked away back in his hand?
Yeah, it looks like he's got one of those in there too. He's playing 2 copies of that card.
Okay, so no Tron.
Yeah.
Our mistake.
Yep, must not be. A Walking Ballista. Jim trying to figure out exactly, because he has, it only cost 2.
Yeah, he had a green in his pool,
yep.
so and they're asking him how he wants to use that mana.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like, it was just a snow-covered forest and not a, not an Urza's Mine. So Jim's draw a lot less explosive, that's for sure. So now we have to figure out if Jeffrey Pyka's draw is explosive or not.
Yeah, potentially the game could be over on this turn.
Well, we're going to get some movement here. Pyretic Ritual. Storm counter and some mana counters. Three red. Let's make it a little more than that, up to 5. And now a Gifts Ungiven. That, of course, costs 3 total because of the Electromancer. That's spell number 3, so Pyka's going to go searching for 4 cards. And we'll see what he can put together.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the typical 3 mana effects and Past in Flames.
Yeah, most likely. That's what we see so many times when we watch people play this deck.
Yeah, it's the pretty standard to go to. Just wants to generate some more mana through the Past in Flames. Then he has the Gift Ungiven to get a payoff card later. And this poor little Walking Ballista looking a little anemic on this board.
Just a little short. Looks like Jim is going to give Pyka Past in Flames plus Manamorphose, which won't stop him from going off.
Yeah, he wants to give him as little mana as possible, but it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, you also want to give him as few cards as possible, you know? Now, perhaps you just don't give him Past in Flames. You put Past in Flames in the graveyard because it does cost 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you give him Manamorphose plus a Ritual. I mean, obviously, one of the things that's great about this deck is you're doomed if you do, doomed if you don't.
Yeah, I mean,
like
if you give him Manamorphose and the ritual effect is +1 mana anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really getting around giving the extra mana.
Yeah, you're not solving the problem. That's for sure. There's a land for the turn for Jeffrey Pyka. Steam Vents untapped.
And with all these rituals, I can't imagine that he doesn't just win the game here.
Mm-hmm.
Got to keep track of the storm count.
Looks like Jeffrey kind of shortcut here and say, I'm casting all of these, which I can appreciate, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So lots of red mana. Here's Manamorphose. 3 + 2 blue. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total mana. Storm count of 10. Draw a card.
Ooh, and Grape Shot plus Remand.
That's all that it takes, right? Grape Shot you. All of the Storm copies will target you. Grape Shot itself, I will Remand, and then I will Grape Shot you again, and that'll do it. So Jeffrey Pyka is going to win game number 1 here over Jim Davis on turn 3. Blue-red Gift Storm very quickly up a game here over green-black Tron. Jim did not have Tron or Way to Kill Goblin Electromancer, and that really kind of solves things, doesn't it?
Yeah, he got to cycle through some spheres and some stars and play a little 1/1 Ballista. That was all she wrote. That's the reason we like Storm in this matchup.
There's not a ton of relevant cards for Jim. Jim has to have very specific things on very specific turns.
Yeah.
Or he's not able to win, especially in game 1. He's going to be an underdog a lot of the time. But he does bring some good cards to the table here after Sideboarding. 4 Collective Brutality, 2 Thragtusk, 2 Nature's Claim, 2 Seal of Primordium, a Devour Flesh, a Ghost Quarter, a Snow-Covered Swamp, a World Breaker, and an additional discard spell here in Thoughtseize.
Yeah, and I expect him to, I would say, get a little leaner. I think he still wants the Fatal Pushes that are in his deck, and he's going to add to that with Thoughtseize and the Collective Brutalities in order to be able to attack his opponent's hand while he's establishing his board.
For Jeffrey Pyka, he's got 4 Lightning Bolts, 2 Blood Moons, 2 Shattering Spree, 2 Empty the Warrens, 2 pieces of the puzzle, a Dispel, an Echoing Truth, and a Negate.
Yeah, this is a pretty good sideboard for this matchup. Blood Moon is spectacular here. If he is dirtling around a little bit, so to speak, Blood Moon just gives him all the time in the world. And Negate is going to be a very strong one here as well.
Yeah, some pretty nice options here for Jeffrey. Only 2 Blood Moons, but it is a card that he can actually accelerate out and play on turn 2 via those rituals. So perhaps we will see him do that. In the meantime, as these players do shuffle up here, Jim Davis is going to be on the play looking to tie things up. We turn our attention now to the Season 2 schedule here on the SCG Tour, where our Season 1 Invitational Weekend was, of course, won by Brian Koval. And then we went to Cincinnati. That was won by Michael Hamilton and his innovative 4-color control deck. Then we had our team open in Atlanta. That was won by Tom Ross, Todd Stevens, and Jody Keith. Syracuse is where we're at right now. We'll crown a champion here soon enough. Then we'll go to Richmond next weekend. Craig and I will be there covering some more Modern. Louisville for some Modern action. Then we'll go to Dallas for Ixalan Release Weekend. That'll be a standard open. Then Charlotte after that for some Modern action. Cincinnati for more Modern, Washington, D.C. for Legacy. Regional Championships November 4th, which will be Modern. More information coming at go.starcitygames.com/regionals in the coming weeks. Then we'll have a team open in Baltimore, and then that Season 2 Invitational Weekend, December 1st to the 3rd. Standard Modern with a standard top 8 at the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia. Now, of course, there are playmats involved with all of our Opens and Classics. For Standard, you'll get that Invocation Bantu the Glorified. Pretty nice artwork there.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
And do not mess with Bantu. Then, in Modern, it'll be Spell Pierce, some of my favorite artwork from that particular set, that Spellwork Invocation. And then for Legacy Opens and Classics, it will be Days. Again, free exclusive playmats on the SCG Tour with entry into any Season 2 Open or Classic. Bantu, Spell Pierce, and Days.
Yes.
I
I don't even know the storyline that well. I know that you're into some of the Magic lore.
A little bit.
Is Bantu a male god or a female god? I don't even know.
pretty sure male god, but can't say with 100% positive.
Sure.
I was reading some of the storyline arcs. I think like Nicol Bolas. Okay, Bantu confirmed female. My bad.
All right, I'm glad I checked.
Yeah, and I know that like Liliana was cursed by Razaketh, that big like 8/8 demon.
Okay.
That tutors. You said creature and tutor.
Yep.
And then Liliana just killed that thing. I remember that happened in the storyline. And apparently Bantu betrayed all the other gods.
That's not
and
cool.
went with Nicol Bolas. Now I think like most of the gods got killed, but I can't remember. And Nicol Bolas killed Bantu.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you don't want to.
Got what she deserved.
You don't want to trade on your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not want to trade on your team at all. So there we go, little lore. I didn't know that. I was reading some of the articles on Daily MTG. I didn't finish them, but I do very vividly remember that like Liliana just killed that demon. Was not happy about being cursed by that demon.
Curse me?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
And that demon like made all this water in the desert full of blood and stuff, and Liliana was having some trouble with that, and then Liliana kind of like broke free and just killed it. I don't know if Nicol Bolas like won or anything like that. I don't know yet. Maybe I should finish reading that tonight.
Dude, it's a harsh world out there, huh?
Nicol Bolas is not to be messed with.
Apparently Liliana is not to be messed with.
That's also true.
Like, I just want a kinder, friendlier Kithkin world.
I think that Gideon is pretty nice, dude. And Nissa seems like she's pretty nice. Chandra seems a little polarizing. I think
a little fiery.
Yeah,
if you will.
That was going to be above that. I think she could have good days and bad days. And then Liliana seems pretty evil. What's the other Planeswalker? Who am I missing? Blue. Oh, Jace. I'm tired of Jace. Jace is always here.
Yeah.
Jace is just always around, being the best of the bunch with his hood and his always awesome powers.
Yeah, enough with you, Jace.
Yeah, tired of Jace. Jim Davis, player we'll learn a little bit more about right now, the 33-year-old from Long Island, New York, with his 11 open top 8s, 2 wins, 3 invitational top 8s. And he did win the Players' Championship, did the team captain of MetaGameGurus.com. Played college roller hockey at Stony Brook University, still enjoys playing hockey and golf. Plays a lot of hockey, actually, does Jim. Plays bass and sings backup vocals in the rock band Teach Me Human, and does Magic full-time, which is very true. Writes articles, team captain of Team Metagame Gurus. He streams, he coaches. He does it all, does Jim Davis. But he's had some difficulty winning round 15 in individual tournaments lately.
Yeah, might be adding top 8 number 12 here to the resume.
That's the goal. Got to remember, too, that he did get second place along with Danny Jessup and Kevin King in that team open in Atlanta just 2 weeks ago. So
very, very solid run there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really healthy tournament for Jim that weekend.
Down a game here, though.
Yeah.
Back against the wall.
Tough matchup game one. I think he's just going to lose game one a pretty high percentage of the time, but he does, like I mentioned, have good cards to sideboard in. Collective Brutality and Thoughtseize are quite good. Fatal Push does a nice job of killing those lords, or excuse me, those cost-reducing lords, I guess you want to call them. They're the Lord of Spells.
Sure.
So
the Spell Lord.
Yeah, Spell Lords. And then there's always Karn on turn 3. That's always a thing you can do when you're playing Tron.
And he tried real hard the first game, digging and digging. Couldn't get there.
See how these players feel. They're happy. We're underway. Power plant. Chromatic sphere. Pass it back. Pyka will sacrifice a Scalding Tarn. He'll get himself a Steam Vents. You can see in Jim's hand he does have a copy of Ugin the Spirit Dragon, a card that he used to win his Players' Championship, beating Todd Anderson in the finals 2 years ago, as there is a Serum Visions. Scry 2 here from Jeffrey Pyka.
Yeah, we saw him draw Baral there. So he's got the setup. We'll see if Jim can disrupt this. It looks like Jim has the pieces to quite effectively fight back.
I hope so.
Relic of Progenitus, he has a Thoughtseize.
Might be time to stir it up. Stir it up. Ancient style. Top 5 cards here for Jim. Reveal a colorless card from among them, put them into the grip.
Usually a Tron piece.
More often than not. There's Nurse's Mine. Now it just needs the Tower of Power. Relic, Progenitus, Thoughtseize, Blooming Marsh, Chromatic Star. Nurse's Mine. Maybe it's time to fire off that Thoughtseize. We'll see.
Yeah, it looks like he would have a real tough time assembling Tron next turn. He'd have to get pretty lucky. So he's going to forego that plan. Ooh, triple Brawl.
Okay.
So that Brawl was a pretty bad draw for the opponent.
Yeah, 3 Brawls, an Island, Serum Visions, Pyretic Ritual, and I believe a Remand?
Correct.
Huh.
So I would think you'd just take the Serum Visions here.
I think it's Visions. Well, I think it's one of the non-Brawls. Let's go with non-Brawl.
Sure. Remand is the second choice here.
Yeah, I think so. Pyretic Ritual is a little scary.
Not in this hand, though.
Yeah, I mean, at least not yet.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
It would require a gifts first.
Yeah.
You know.
Jim says, you know what? You can have that Serum Visions. I'm not that scared of that. Here's Baral. Davis will draw a Relic of Progenitus. Jim will play a Chromatic Star. Planner is mine. Sack. Draw. Collective Brutality, which is unfortunate because as good as Collective Brutality can be in this matchup, it kills Electromancer, but it does not kill Baral.
No, it doesn't kill Baral, but just a duress effect might be enough in this game. Jeffrey doesn't have a whole lot of action going on in his hand, and he definitely needs a critical mass of cards in order to win. So just taking one of the ritual effects might be good enough.
Jim will pass with a Relic of Progenitus activation at the ready. And now we see Empty the Warrens being the draw.
That's an interesting one. That gives him a big payoff here.
Serum Visions. Picked up a copy of Remand. Scry 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Does Pyka want to make a move here?
Seems like his best option. Move in on 8 goblins. I like it.
2-turn clock. Pyretic Ritual. Well, here's Desperate Ritual.
He's saying we don't need that.
Yep.
It's just going to happen. Oh, we will do it. Make it easier for the fans at home.
Spell 3. Keep in mind, he did keep Pyretic Ritual on top of his deck. So here's Empty the Warrens. So now if you're Jim, you can cash in this Relic pretty comfortably.
Yeah, well, and he needs the extra cards.
So that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, if he finishes Tron and plays Ugin, pretty good for him.
Yep. Chromatic Star.
Come on, Jim. Give us a sweat.
Big draw step here. Power Plant.
What a tease.
Yeah. Tron is known to tease.
All right, Jim does have another turn. So the question is, how does he dig as many cards as possible here?
Well, it's got to start with the star.
Yep, for sure.
He might actually get 2 turns out of this, by the way, because he's got Collective Brutality.
Sure.
So here's the start. Sacrifice the star. Draw a card. Karn, not for this game.
And we can't forget one of the cards in Jeffrey's hand is Remand.
That got taken by the Thoughtseize.
He did not draw another Remand?
No, I'm fairly sure he scribed that to the bottom. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty positive.
Oh, we're going to find out one way or another here.
Yeah, I think so. There's Relic. Jim with no mana floating currently. He's going to play this Tron piece. Collective Brutality. Going to do this to kill a goblin.
Okay. I'm a little surprised.
He does have a remand, you're right.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Jim didn't escalate that there.
Likewise. Because now I think he's just iced. He can't come back now. He can't beat a remand.
He cannot beat the Remand.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Collective Brutality, it might have just been better to lose 2 game 2.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised by that as well. Especially if he draws a tower now. Picked up a Chromatic Star, or Chromatic Sphere. Yeah, he'll get another turn out of it because there's only 8 power, but I'm still with you. I'm a little surprised not to see a duress effect.
Yeah, and he has to find the Tron now.
Yeah. Sylvan Scrying means he sort of did.
Yep.
Yeah, so this turn I think we see Jim go Scrying for tower, play Karn.
Yep. That's the most likely route we're going to see here. Ooh.
Wow. I'm a little surprised by that, too.
Oh, well, he used his black-green source to sacrifice the Relic.
Oh, it wasn't for Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he has to go this route.
You're right. There's the tower.
And not being able to threaten with a big spell this turn and next turn means the Remand might just be lights out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I guess I am still pretty surprised, again, not to just see the escalate from the Collective Brutality a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it seems like this game is going to end with him having cards in his hand either way.
Jim is going to crack this. I guess for a black to try to hit Fatal Push.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he did. Draw.
And that play is a little strange as well.
Going to put him down to 2. I mean, Jeffrey's not tapping Nana.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Unless he could go Ritual Blood Moon.
Yeah. Jim drew Worm Coil Engine. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he can't play both.
And he knows when the opponent passes without playing one of those brawls.
Yeah, he knows he's dead.
Yeah, look at the face. Ugh, so close.
Yep.
His deck just teasing him, giving them the Tron a turn too late.
All you can do is cast Dugan and get it remanded, buddy. That's all you can do. Yep, that's going to do it. Jeffrey Pyka is going to win this match here over Jim Davis, 2-0. Blue-red Gift Storm going to take care of green-black Tron. And that means we're going to have a Storm deck into the top 8. Congratulations to Jeffrey Pyka.